Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my Prismata Master Challenges playlist. In part 1, we did all of the puzzles in the Master Challenges, and here in part 2, as promised, we're going to get started on some of the challenges, normal games against MasterBot. And I continue to repeat that I don't promise to get all of these done, especially the unfair challenges. I think I should be able to finish all the MasterBot challenges at least. And as you can see, I haven't finished these. I've in fact never attempted them. I haven't studied the sets or anything, so you are going to see my analysis from scratch on these sets before we get going. Okay, destroy enemy forces. If you can defeat MasterBot, you are a great player. Okay, so what's going on here? A lot, right? I see like some big blue stuff. Which encourages me to go high econ. Likewise, there's Plexocell, which is a defensive unit and therefore supports a high econ. But it could also support something rushy like, Gaussite Sinestra Rush, for example. If you could get that going before the big blue player gets off the ground, Plexocell would help keep you alive long enough to finish killing them. So those seem like kind of the two main lines you could take here. You could go for high econ with... do you want, like... The thing is, Omega Splitter and Defense Grid sort of both play the same role of a big absorber. So it's a bit tough to get both of them at the same time. You don't want to absorb with both. If you're going to, I think you want to get the Omegas first. And then when you're done buying Omegas, either because there are none left or you don't want any more, then you finally buy a defense grid. But I don't know. If you do that, the defense grid has not given you much value. It takes a long time. Like, most of defense's grid value is the absorb. But, it also gives you drones. And if you put off the defense grid till later, it's not giving you that value. As quickly. But you're getting the Omega value in the meantime. So, I don't know. All of these, like Omega and Drake, combine to offer a lot of breach threat, which might make it hard to defend a defense grid if your opponent has one. Oxide Mixer sort of is a punish for Big Absorb because you can build up attack without having to let them get absorbed. There's also Antima Comet, which fits into the big high econ picture, and conceivably Lucina as well. She likes to be behind a big wall with a bunch of drones to support her. But there's not really a good way to transition out of red, right? So if you get Lucina, you kind of have to find something to do with all your red. And you don't really want to have like 3 blue and 2 red and some green. You can't have enough drones to support all of that, I don't think. I mean, sure, you could get a Lucina and then spam Frost Rooters, I guess. That's something. A relatively cheap way to spend all that excess red. I don't remember if I said already, but Antima kind of wants to go with the high econ approach, because when you can funnel more engineers into it, it's powerful. And it won't really do much if a low econ player builds it against a high econ player. So I'm still not really sure. Like, it seems appealing to me to go for the high econ with Omegas with like Oxide Mixers into Omegas and then Defense Grid and then Drake. Here's a point. Drake can let you tech back out of blue once you buy all this big stuff. So that's something to consider. But like, you could do that and then get the Lucina, for example. But I'd rather just like keep the blue because Doomed Mech is another big defender. So I'm thinking that I maybe just want to go like blue, triple blue, single green as my plan, and just have the green for like late game Plexos and Force Fields. On the other hand, I'm player 1. I won't have a convenient time to pick up green anytime soon. So what does the aggressive build look like? you get... I think a turn 2 Tarsier is just too... Like, turn 2 Animus is too aggressive. So it would be a... Oh, especially as player 1, jeez. Okay, so it would be a turn 3 Animus. Into, like, 2 Tarsiers and a Conduit. And then a Gaussite, and then Sinestras forever. That's actually pretty strong. As player 1, that works out pretty well. You might very well be able to punish someone going super high econ with that. Stop them before they can get enough Omegas down. Well, you couldn't build Sinestras forever because you wouldn't have enough green, right? You just take a break turn to build, like, another Gaussite and a drone? Something like that? But the net result of all of that is that you have, what, 5, 6 attack against a player with an Omega, and you can build attack about as fast as they can, but they're absorbing all of your attack from... All the attack that you have a head start, like you have 5 more attack than them, but they have a bunch more absorb. So you're about equal in attack. Omegas are about as efficient to buy as Sinestra, and they have more drones. I guess you have Frostbrooder to stop them from getting too much more attack, maybe, someday? I'm not sure. I don't know what's right here. Base plus 11 is so complicated. This is why I just can't play this in ladder. I have to spend all this time thinking about what to do. And also, you know, I don't want to lose to Masterbot. It's sort of embarrassing. In a game, like, I think I would just sort of... If I had to play this from nothing, I'd be like, okay, there's a lot of blue here. It's all very defensive. There's some sort of aggressive red, but I think that the blue is good enough. So I'm going to try that and see how it goes. I'm going to go with the blue. And keep an eye on what the opponent does. It is going to be super important for me. Okay, so this is sort of non-committal, but suggests Sinestra, because he's not going for a third engineer. I think if you wanted, like, yeah, I can't imagine cutting the engineer to get this conduit a turn sooner if you wanted to go for big blue. So we should be prepared to deal with Sinestras here. But we're committed to building a lot of drones, so I'll do that. We're going to put out an Oxide Mixer first, I think, although maybe it should be a Steel Splitter? It'll depend on some stuff I should already know. Namely, like, how much money I'll have left and how many. So let's say I wanted Omega's next turn. I could do this and just start churning out Omegas. This is not a lot of drones, but it is enough to start building Omegas. The opponent threatens Sinestra next turn. So what's the idea here? Sinestra and another Oxide Mixer? I can defend that okay. He doesn't have enough green to threaten a bunch. Maybe he doesn't want the Sinestra yet. He wants to build one Gaussite first so that he can build many Sinestras. That's pretty scary. At any rate, I think I want the Steel Splitter here to absorb against whatever he builds next turn. Yeah, I kind of like this idea. Okay, see, Masterbot, this is not a good plan. He built an Animus and didn't use it. And if we zoom backwards, we can see, like, he cut drones to get at that Animus. It's a very, very bad line. I'm not sure what his plan was. Like, I guess you could basically say he didn't have one. Which is the wrong kind of plan to have. I guess so we don't have to commit to building... Oh my, really? Sinestra Antima is certainly interesting. We don't have to commit to building all the Omegas, right? We can, anytime we want, transition out of Omegas into Defense Grid. and then start draking or something. I would like to build them all because they're reasonably efficient attackers, but maybe it's better to not. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have built any? Yeah, what is the point of all these Omegas if I have a defense grid around? I guess they're just good, like... They threaten a bunch of attack, and they're reasonably efficient attackers, and you'll want an Absorber when the defense grid dies off anyway, right? You can go back to absorbing on Omega. So, this Antoma Comet is super scary. Masterbot often fails to follow up with enough engineers. So, like, I mean, okay. Absolute worst case, he's building, like, 8 engineers that he'll be attacking for 10. I feel like I should actually get a defense grid here. Just... why exactly? It's not really much more efficient than Omega. Yeah, I should get Omega to keep threatening attack and make him have to actually, like, defend on his Antoma turn. I will buy an engineer, though. This is, I'll need it if the Masterbot actually follows up with the number of engineers he should. Yeah, but he didn't. Okay, so this game is a gimme. Like, he's had a lot of serious threats, and he hasn't followed up on any of them. Ooh. Can't build another Omega, huh? Well, he's gonna lose one engineer here, but still. He could choose not to, of course, lose wall onto wall, and I don't want to give him that option. So I think I should just build another Omega, planning to sack the Steel Splitter, and you know, he has to click all his pixies to deal this damage, which he should do. But once the pixies and the engineers and the Antoma are gone, he doesn't really have that much. And I can continue. I'm giving up a Steel Splitter, which sucks, but I won't have to like keep doing drastic stuff like this to stay alive. Okay, we get the last of these guys, build one engineer. It's going to be tough getting out of defense grid, to be honest. I don't know if I can do it. Maybe this Omega should have been a defense grid. Nope, he didn't add any more attack. So we can get the defense grid we wanted. Honestly, Masterbot is just giving me this game. It would be quite shameful to lose here. He's teched completely wrong. He's mangled his Antoma play. Alright, let's get that Drake we wanted. And I guess I could get an Oxide Mixer. I guess that's fine. It's really just like a very, very slow way to buy 4 Pixies here, because, or even 4 Gauss charges. It's not really doing anything. I could consider getting a Doomed Mech instead of the Drake, which would let me like buy a real attacker such as Steel Splitter. But I like Drake because Masterbot is already having to hold back drones, and if we can add more breach threat, he's going to have an even tougher time. And I guess this is just a fine way to spend blue. I would love to have a conduit, I'd love to have a drone, but I think spending the blue is more important. Get more attack. And you can see like we have 12 attack, he has 4, and that's not going to change anytime soon, except that my number will keep getting bigger and his will not. Whew, what awful attack. Clicking the, or defense. Clicking the Drake doesn't even do anything. He's already having to lose everything onto the defense grid. So that's great news. Let's get the Drake, and let's in fact tech down out of blue a little bit. so that I can like look at. Oh no, jeez. We just talked about it. It doesn't do anything. I'd like this available soon, but we're not going to do it right now. It'd be nice to be able to get something like, I don't know if it's red or green. Like red, it'd be really nice to get Frost Brooders to deal with his Plexocells, make them look really stupid. Okay, so let's say I click these. He's keeping one engineer alive. If I do this, he's keeping a wall alive and none of the engineers. So that's actually pretty good. It ruins his granularity again. And I'm gonna get a doomed mech here rather than another Drake. It would be nice to have, no, it's dying at the lifespan 5. Yeah, it would be dying the turn after defense grid. So this is a good time to get the doomed mech train going, I guess. I'll buy one more Oxide Mixer, which is just cheap enough that I can get some red to replace the blue that I'm blowing up. Yeah, I mean, he's flailing pretty desperately here. So let's say we do this. This lets him keep alive a single wall. Right? He can keep alive a Plexocell, haha. 4 health worth of stuff is what he can keep alive, but the Plexocell dies anyway, so he's keeping a wall. Clicking Drakes makes my attack worse, not better. It exploits less. Let's continue the Doomed Mech train, spending our blue cheaply. And I'll throw in a Gaussite Conduit symbiote here, which lets me threaten Antima, which should be a big problem for him. Oh look, we're reaching. That's nice. I'll spend all the pixies, kill all the attackers, get that juicy Antima. Sure. That'll be fun. Alright, that looks good. Reach him. I'm actually like 1 attack, no, 3 attack. Okay, he has several things. We're a little bit short of killing him, but the Antima ought to finish him off. All right, there we go. 42. Good show. This game doesn't really tell me anything about whether I read the set correctly. Masterbot just made so many horrible blunders that I didn't need to be playing anything close to the right strategy in order to beat him. It was embarrassing. I don't know if this is a set he plays particularly badly, or if I just caught him on a bad hair day, or what. But he was not on top form. I guess we can look at the replay and see if anything comes up. This turn's interesting. I feel like I went for Omegas too soon. 16 drones is enough to build Omegas, but it's not enough to also defend them, and the enemy is threatening some attack. So it might be right to, like, build just 1 Blast Forge here and another drone, but, like, we float a bunch of money that way. And what exactly are we building then? I don't know, maybe I could cut the Steel Splitter, build Oxide Mixer instead, but then I don't have any Absorber. But okay, we went with the 3rd Blast Forge, and the enemy gave us all the time in the world to get out more Omegas, except for that one turn where we had to lose a Steel Splitter. Got the defense grid right on schedule, just as planned. Drake. I would have liked to sell my Blast Forge here, but since it wasn't doing anything, that's clearly wrong. It's better to leave the Blast Forge alive and float the blue than it is to just throw the Blast Forge away for no reason. Here I switched to Doomed Mech and Oxide Mixer, just two very cheap blue units. They have a very high blue to gold ratio, letting me tech back down to get like some red, which seems good. It's never like a disaster to just buy a bunch of Steel Splitters, but here with Drake, I was able to get rid of the Blast Forges efficiently. You know, get actual value out of them. Did well to exploit his walls and stuff here. He had a lot of trouble defending in general, and then I don't know. It's just a complete throw from Masterbot. Oh, well, that was 20 minutes. That was a bit long, but we can try to get a second game. Let's try Masterbot Challenge 2. Destroy all enemy forces. Okay. So there's some green here. You know, Zamora exists. But not a lot of support for Zamora. I mean, okay, Centurion, also sort of support for Zamora, maybe. Zamora wants a kind of way to go late game. I actually don't know how well these two units synergize. People tend to rush out Zamora, which leaves them with a low econ. And not really any time to get Centurion up. Meanwhile, it seems like there's a lot of stuff here that kind of threaten some early, not early, but like some pressure, right? These three units here, Plasma Fire, Vi, and the Wincer, are all pretty powerful pressure units. There's no way to tech back down out of red, so Vi doesn't seem great. On the other hand, if you could get a Vi, like, you could do some really amazing stuff. Freeze Centurion, freeze one lifespan doomed walls. It's just gross. I just, like, don't see an easy way to support Vi. You can put her behind Centurion, but, like, can you even get Centurion? We'll see, I guess. So, the first thing I guess to note here is that green is super important. You're going to get green early. No matter what you are planning, you want green. If you want Zamora, like, it's pretty common to play a turn 1 conduit for player 2 and then turn 2 another conduit for player 2. Getting at the Zamora super fast. The question is, can we, as player 1, find some way to punish that? Plasma Fire puts on a lot of pressure. It seems like if we do something a bit more measured with Plasma Fire and boreholes, we ought to be able to keep the green player on the back foot most of the game. I don't think we'll ever get high up enough for a Centurion, but it sure would be nice if we could. You know, you could maybe get Wincer if you could fit in some red. There are cheap red sinks, right? So it's a thing that could happen, right? You build the Wincer, and then I don't know. You don't really want 2 blue though. I think the one unit here that is easiest to ignore is Apollo. I just don't. Well, okay, Isochron is probably even worse. I don't know. ISO could threaten to deny absorb on Centurion, I guess, but ISO and Apollo look very poor this game. Apollo sniping boreholes is okay, but not great. And against anything else, it's like quite bad. Wincer has what, 5 health? Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm thinking we want to go for like a mid-econ green into blue to have plasma fires available, supposing that the opponent does go for an early Zamora. If they don't go for early Zamora, I think we want to head for a slightly higher econ to let us like build a Windsor and not be over-teched, and then eventually a Centurion. I don't really see myself ever having time to get Zamora. I'd rather just buy a Plasma Fire if I ever get to the state where I have that much green lying around. Okay, let's try something like that. Okay, so he's not going for the super fast Zamora. Oh right, I'm player 1 again. I'd rather be player 2, I think, because it's more natural to mix green in. This turn, I have to decide, do I want another engineer? I think I... I think I don't. Centurion is great, but there's a lot of mid-econ units that I might want to add in. Right, like I don't want to rush straight for Centurion and get a million drones, I don't think. I want to like get some green, get like maybe boreholes, maybe plasma fire, maybe Windsor, maybe Zamora. So I'm gonna like turn 2 build double drone conduit. Okay. I never noticed. You can get a third engineer this turn as player 1. That's interesting. If you think that a conduit is more important than a drone, you can reverse the order of them. Huh. I think that's usually wrong, because you can generally like use the extra gold you get from the drones to build a conduit, but like you end up with more drones and the same number of conduits, but this way you would end up with more green, even though you have the same amount of green income. You built up the bank a little bit larger. That's an interesting idea. Do I want more drones now? What's the opponent threatening with this conduit? Like, probably just boreholes and then maybe plasma fire or something. But he could also threaten ISOs, which would make the Centurion look sort of dumb. I'm not too concerned about that. I don't think ISOs are good in this set. I think by going green, he sort of locked himself out of Vi, so Centurion looks a bit better. So what if I did do this? I couldn't buy any tech buildings next turn. Kind of stinks. I think I'd rather just do this and then like drone blast forge. Lets me threaten a borehole, lets me like maybe get a Zamora if I decide not to get the borehole. Okay. And we'll see what he does. I expect a borehole here. ISOs, really? Doesn't seem very good. Do I want another blast forge? Do I want another conduit? Another conduit's an interesting idea. I could get a plasma fire next turn. And then... Or I could get maybe, let's say, a Zamora or something? I kind of want a Doomed Wall next turn, actually, right? Yeah. Defends these ISOs twice. The first time they fire, it absorbs. The second time they fire, it's dying. So a Doomed Wall is very good against synchronized ISOs, I think. I think this conduit is a little bit silly. I don't know, if I'm building a doomed wall, that's only $7. I need to find something else to do with my money. Maybe Zamora's fine. And it lets me threaten plasma fires later. I think it's alright. It's kind of a later Zamora than you usually see, which makes me think I'm doing something wrong. I could get another Blast Forge, but I don't want that much blue. Get another Conduit to power the Zamora, but that's... well, it could also let me just build unlimited plasma fires. I think I'm just the tiniest bit early for that. And I don't want to spend a ton of green when I have a Zamora coming in. So maybe that's a silly idea. But it would keep my opponent on the back foot, preventing him from pressuring me too much, so the Zamora can come online a bit sooner. Oh, wow. Oh, no, he built a synced ISO. Okay. So wait, am I wrong about this doomed wall? No, I'm right. It's going to defend at the right time. Okay. So let's get a steel splitter, I guess. I don't want that many boreholes. And... Drone. Oh, I lost an engineer. Drone Animus. Engie? Actually, I could do this. And get a Centurion next turn. I don't think I want a Centurion, not with synced ISOs. But a Windsor would be fine, wouldn't it? The problem is I don't have a way to spend all this tech after I get the Windsor, except on the Centurion, which I'm a little bit too low on econ for. So I think it's clear that I need more tech. I'm just not sure what tech. Tarsiers are okay. Yeah, let's go with this. I'm a little bit nervous about the amount of green that I might have when Zamora comes online, but it's a long time away. And I'm not really spending my green in the meantime. Yeah, and now this ISO does nothing, so I'm happy with that. I could get a Centurion next turn, but again, it's not really helping. A Centurion would be defending 0 damage. 1 damage, I guess. He looks like he wants a Windsor. That's a bit scary. Actually, he looks like he wants a Centurion, right? We're going to be threatening enough to make the Centurion look pretty reasonable. So... am I okay with that? Seems fine. But it would be nice to be able to play a Windsor before him. I guess this is fine. I'm on 18 drones. I can build a Windsor and then on his ISO turn, a Centurion. I guess that's alright. But it's costing a lot of green, which I want to keep an eye on. Well, all this attack is doing nothing. Well, I mean, clicking these 2 steel splitters allows me to trade the Pixie for an engineer. But it gives him an engineer because I absorb for less, so I don't want to do it. Now, let's think. How much is he going to be attacking for next turn? 6, 8, 9. So my Centurion will be coming in. That's soaking 5, so I'm going to want 4-ish defense available. Honestly, that looks kind of like Shift-E, because I'm losing 1 here, and then I'll have 4 left. Lower econ than I'd like to be for this Centurion, but we do get it. Oh my god, the Wincer comes in timed with the Zamora. I didn't do that on purpose, but it's disgusting, isn't it? The counter Wincer is an interesting attempt. Yeah, we just keep the borehole alive this way. But the attacks that we're making still do nothing. So that's his Doomed Wall, right? He's absorbing for 9 this turn. So all these attacks are kind of pointless. Still not clicking this Pixie. We're going to have to build some more conduits for Zamora real soon. But the good news is opponent's not really attacking at all next turn, so... Yeah, he is keeping those ISOs synced. That's, you know, well played there. Let's see. How do I want to attack? He's going to soak 5 plus 3, so I guess this just kills an engineer. That's as good as it's ever going to be. Let's get a Doomed Wall now. I anticipate the Wincer being a bit of a problem for me. What else do I do with all my tech? I do have too much of it, as predicted. But soon Zamora will be giving me 8 income, so I'll be able to spend it a bit better. Husks are kind of silly. I might as well just buy engineers. Although if I have the red floating, might as well buy husks. I expect engineer supply to run out before husk supply does, so probably neither will happen, but you know. Can I get a Tarsier? Is that like insane? Maybe a Steel Splitter? I think that's so greedy. But like, how much are we attacking for next turn? Actually, that's a really important question to ask. We are attacking for 3, let's ignore the Steel Splitter for now. 3, 5, 8, 16, 31. How much defense will the opponent have? They've lost a wall and an NG, so they have 7 defense. He has to produce 24 defense next turn to avoid losing a Centurion. I don't think he can do that, right? So let's just play another Centurion to sort of hammer the point home. Although honestly, not another Centurion, another Steel Splitter. But actually, I think as a conduit is a better idea because we're gonna have to be defending a lot next turn because of his Wincer and ISOs coming together, which means I won't be able to build a lot of conduits. And I want my Zamora to keep firing. Yikes, I'm actually scared about his big turn coming up. Even if he loses his Centurion, I don't know if I can defend mine. I guess I can hold the Steel Splitters back. Maybe put in some force fields. I don't know. I think this is the best I can come up with. Yeah, and he can't come close to defending, which is nice. We can't kill enough drones to stop the Wincer from firing. We could kill an ISO. Okay, let's say I try to attack with the Steel Splitters. Can I do that? Yeah, I can. I'll just buy Blood Pacts to hold it all off. This loses the Borehole Patroller, but that's sort of fine. I'll even Force Field. How about that? No, if I Force Field, I can't get the Zamora firing. Okay, well, this is very close, actually, in terms of being able to sustain here, but we obviously have demolished him. I could do this, I guess, and then I don't need the Force Field even. We keep the Borehole. Just kill a couple drones. Usually you'd prefer to kill drones over ISOs. But here, the only way we can lose is if he somehow breaches the Centurion, so let's just make sure that doesn't happen. I can cut a Blood Pact, but then I lose the Borehole Patroller. Drone? Sure. I'm not going to have to defend again anytime soon, so I don't need the Engineer. Wow! 4 Blood Pacts. What a turn. Alright, and we're not breaching, but he's not attacking, so that's good news. We have to build at least 2 conduits to fire Zamora. And with that, I don't know, Tarsiers and 1 Steel Splitter? Sure. Tarsiers are pretty greedy, but we can afford it at this point. Our Windsor's gonna go off again before his does. Okay, he is losing both of these Grimbotches, so he's only actually attacking for 8. Which means I lose Grimbotch NG into Centurion. Fine. Oh, let's just Plasma Fire. Wait a minute. Oh. I missed. I thought I had 8 green, but 8 conduits, but I had only 7. Okay, so that's a clear, gigantic mistake. I could go back and fix it, but let's pretend this was a real game. Good news, I have all the green I'm ever going to need. I don't need to build another conduit again. Yikes. What an error. I mean, I could, like, I was thinking of building a Plasma Fire here to, like, make this Windsor shot hurt even more, but we don't need to. Let's just build attackers and spend as much tech as we can. Okay, so we can kill his Windsor. Actually, let's just kill all his drones instead. That's probably better. And all his ISOs. Yes, okay. He no longer has any ammunition at all. Fine. I wish he would resign, but he doesn't do that in these practice scenarios. Oh, we're out of Tarsier supply, huh? Well, more Steel Splitters, I guess. It's gonna be an embarrassing graph at the end. Top Prismata players use the phrase reading the set to describe the process of analyzing a complex blueprint set and identifying a good strategy. Yeah, so this is my big mistake turn. This one was normal because we just weren't firing the Windsor anymore. But here we stopped firing Zamora, which was a big mistake. Just miscounted the conduits there, and that is a mistake you should really strive to avoid in your games. Anything else to look at here? This is a very complex set, and I really don't know if I analyzed it correctly at all. What I did seems... It was like, you know, once again, Masterbot just doesn't play this set at all well. He buys a Blast Forge, doesn't spend the blue. This turn he finally did spend the blue. Now he doesn't spend the blue again, buys an Animus instead. What does he do with the Animus? He builds a Tarsier. Finally gets a Centurion, which, like, I guess is okay, but I'm only attacking for a little bit. And, like, he's just continuing to tech more and more, but not spend any of that tech. The whole game falls apart for him as a result. I would be interested to see, like, what a good player would do with that set. It seems like it would beat what I did. Okay, well, I'm not going to try to get a third Masterbot challenge in here in this first video. I'll need the time. If I want to try to win an unfair challenge, I'll need need maybe a couple of attempts. So next episode we'll try MasterBot Challenge 3, and then hopefully on to Unfair Challenge 1. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.